You give your whole life to someone, and in one moment, everything feels like a stranger. Int. Funeral parlor. Day. The chapel is filled with mourners dressed in somber black. Rain taps against the stained glass windows. Maggie Harper, late 60s, stands at the entrance, wearing a navy blue coat Edward loved. Her hands tremble slightly as she greets guests, her smile practiced but strained. The air smells of lilies and damp wool. Maggie's son, Nathan Harper, 34, in a tailored suit, steps to the podium. His voice is steady but emotional as he delivers a tribute to his father, Edward, who died in a car crash during a storm. Edward's brakes failed on a slick road, sending his SUV into a storefront. The doctor said he didn't suffer. Nathan. Voice breaking. Dad was my hero. He built a life for us, always calm, always in control. But there's someone I need to thank, someone who was there for him when things got tough. Miss Claire Donovan. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Claire Donovan, mid-40s, elegant in a burgundy dress, stands in the front row. She dabs her eyes with a tissue, her makeup flawless. Maggie, seated to the side, freezes. Her handbag slips slightly in her lap. She expected Nathan to acknowledge her, 38 years of marriage, raising him, managing their home after leaving her career as a financial analyst at Edward's urging. Maggie, VO. I thought he'd say my name. I thought he'd see me. Claire nods graciously as whispers fill the room. A woman nearby mutters, as she's sitting like she's his wife. Maggie's ears ring. She forces a smile as guests offer condolences, but her world tilts when she overhears Nathan whisper to Claire, "You were his real family." Int. Maggie's home. Night. Maggie sits alone in her dimly lit dining room, Edward's chair empty across from her. The house is eerily quiet. She opens a photo album, young Maggie and Edward, smiling at a beach, Maggie at her old desk job, confident. She traces her old employee ID, remembering Edward's words, "You don't need to work. I'll handle everything." She believed it was love. Maggie, VO. Habit is a cruel cage. I kept his house, his life, his image, but what was mine? Int. Lawyer's office. Day. The office smells of polished wood and coffee. Attorney Susan Grant reads Edward's will with a measured tone. Maggie sits stiffly, Nathan beside her, expressionless. Susan. Per Edward Harper's will, signed 4 years ago, the primary residence in Oak Ridge, the lake house in Michigan, and all personal accounts are bequeathed to Ms. Claire Donovan. Maggie's breath catches. Nathan doesn't flinch. Susan continues, Edward left Maggie nothing, not a dime. Maggie's eyes burn, but she holds herself together. Maggie. To Nathan. Low. You knew, didn't you? Nathan. Flat. Dad had his reasons. Claire was there for him. She got him. Maggie. And 38 years of my life? What did that mean? Nathan's response is cold. You were always so rigid. He needed someone who understood his dreams. Maggie leaves, stunned. At home, she searches Edward's study, finding a hidden folder. Inside, a deed for the Michigan Lake House, purchased 6 years ago in Claire's name. A photo slips out, Edward and Claire at a company gala, his arm around her, both beaming. A handwritten note on the back reads, "Heir to our future." Int. Joanne's house. Day. Maggie visits Joanne Miller, her neighbor of 20 years. Joanne's living room is cozy, filled with rose-patterned cushions. Over tea, Joanne hesitates but shares a memory. Joanne, Claire used to come around when you were visiting your mother. I saw her helping Edward with the garden lights one winter. I thought she was a relative. Maggie. Stunned. How long ago? Joanne. Oh, maybe 12 years. They seemed close. Maggie's face hardens. She realizes Claire wasn't a fling. She was a fixture, woven into Edward's life while Maggie was sidelined. Int. Maggie's home. Night. Maggie calls Ruth Callahan, her old colleague. Ruth's voice is warm but sharp. Maggie. I think Edward funneled money to Claire through the company. Can you help me prove it? Ruth. You're not just grieving, Maggie. You're hunting. Send me what you've got. Maggie emails photos, the deed, and old company emails. Ruth finds discrepancies, payments to a shell company, a Bright Horizon LLC, tied to Claire. Over $400,000, spread over 7 years, disguised as consulting fees. Cafe. Day. Maggie meets Nathan at a cozy cafe, the same one where he loved blueberry scones as a child. He's distant, his phone face down on the table. Nathan. Why are you suing Claire? She didn't do anything. Dad chose her. Maggie. Voice trembling. I sold my grandmother's sapphire necklace to pay your tuition. I stayed home, kept this family together. And you call her family? Nathan. Dad said you were too controlling. Claire let him breathe. Maggie slides a faded photo across the table. Nathan, age 3, clutching her hand at a park. You used to call me your safe place, she says. Nathan looks away, silent. Int. Susan's office. Day. Maggie hands Susan a thick folder of evidence. Susan's eyes widen as she reviews Ruth's findings. Payments, fake invoices, Claire's name on hidden accounts. Susan. This is embezzlement, Maggie. We can take her down, but it'll get ugly. Maggie. I've been invisible too long. Let's make it loud. Int. Courtroom. Day. The trial is tense. Claire, poised, claims the funds were for legitimate marketing work. Her lawyer presents forged invoices, but Susan counters with Ruth's evidence and Claire's social media, photos of Edward and Claire at the lake house, captioned, "A My Heart's Home." Maggie takes the stand, her voice steady. Maggie. I gave up my career, my dreams, for Edward. He promised to take care of me. Instead, he built a life with her, using money he stole from his own company. The judge, a woman in her 60s, listens intently. The ruling comes swiftly. Claire must repay $1.2 million, including interest. The lake house and other assets are sold to cover it. Claire's reputation crumbles. She disappears from town. Maggie's home. Day, 1 year later. Maggie hosts a small gathering in her garden, now vibrant with new flowers she planted. Nathan arrives, hesitant. They haven't spoken since the trial. He apologizes, tears in his eyes. Nathan. I was wrong, Mom. I was holding onto a version of Dad that wasn't real. Maggie hugs him. I never stopped believing in you, as she says. They laugh, reminiscing about old times. Guests join them, chuckling at Maggie's newfound wit. Maggie. Pointing to a blooming pear tree. That tree was half dead last year. I almost gave up on it. But look at it now, stronger than ever. Nathan. Smiling. Like you, Mom. Extension Maggie's porch. Sunset. Maggie stands barefoot, watching the sunset paint the sky. The wind chimes sing softly. She smiles, no longer defined by Edward's shadow or Nathan's approval. Maggie, VO. I lost a husband, a son, a life I thought was mine. But I found something better, myself. She walks inside, hangs up her scarf, and turns on a jazz record. The music swells as the screen fades to black. The end.